because this doesn't look good, I want to pull out spark plugs on cylinder 2 and 4 just to have something to compare it with. Okay, a spark plug can also tell you the condition or something is going on inside the engine, inside the internal combustion process. Okay, so I always take a real good look at the spark plug, but I want to compare this with other cylinders, so I will remove the spark plugs out of these 2 cylinders just to compare them with. Okay, if they look similar, then yeah, I really need a 6-cylinder tune-up. Replace all the spark plugs and go from there. But let's take a look. See, this spark plug, this thing hard to focus. This spark plug do not look like the one that come out of cylinder 6. Cylinder 4. This is cylinder 6. I'm sorry, this camera not focusing right. Let's take a look and see what cylinder 2 looks like. Yep, a little wet, but it's nowhere near looks like cylinder 6. So we very possibly may just had a failing spark plug. Like I say, gauge the spark plug real good, because it can tell you if you got some internal problems going on inside the engine. Here's cylinder 6 again. So, but for now, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna recommend a complete 6-cylinder 3.6 liter tune-up and an ignition core for cylinder 6. Okay, now another item or another culprit that can cause misfire in a particular cylinder that I don't want you to overlook happens to be, that's right, injector. Okay, injector can trick you sometimes. Injector would normally cause a rough idle. Okay, not so much a misfire because it's not really secondary ignition per se, but it can be in the results of a misfire. It could cause misfire, but I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Normally an injector would cause you to have rough idle, but it still can cause misfire. All right, but it's not per se secondary ignition. It's not on a secondary ignition cylinder. So, but I just want you to keep that in mind, that an injector would also cause that. All right, but for now, I'm going to recommend a 6-cylinder tune-up and an ignition coil. Okay, I'm going to replace the one coil in this cylinder and replace all the spark plugs. All right, and then we're going to retest this and verify if it's repaired or not. All right, let's get with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the car. Now we're about to verify that the repairs we made was a success. I got the computer on the OBS screen, so you should see it. Now, what I want to touch on is being careful not to erase the check engine light so quickly. Let's go to the laptop portion, because as you can see, well, I don't know if you noticed, but the thing called adaptive numerator would be hard to get back. You have to go drive it and go on a lot of different parameters in order to get the adaptive numerator to allow you to view misfire again. Okay, so be very careful with erasing that check engine light after you make the repairs. I mean, eventually you will erase it once you realize that the repairs was a success. That's when you erase it. But for now, we want this misfire screen still up. Okay, so if we look here, we can see there's no more misfire counter on cylinder 6. All right, so with that being said, let's bark the car back down to put it on the simulator load, rev it up, Don't feel any bucking, don't hear any bucking, none of that. Ladies and gentlemen, this car was repaired by core and cylinder 6, and we end up replacing all the spark plugs. So essentially did a tune-up and touched on the secondary ignition system. All right, so there you have it. You see my 200 rev counter is counting. That means we are in adaptive numerator state, but there's no counters counting on any of the cylinders, even under a load. That's the sound of a load. I am on the brake and the gas. Okay, and there is no misfire counter. This car has been repaired successfully. Now, the last thing you want to do, because you want to verify it more physically, and you do that from a standpoint of test driving it. So get on the road and go drive it. Try to touch on a couple of hills, put it on a real load, and just go about 4 or 5 miles of test drive it. That is always the last thing you should do before you deliver a car to a customer. Okay, your last and final test drive. All right, that about wrap this up, man. I'm sorry for being so basic with my terminology. I wanted to focus this video on a couple of apprentices. I have some new guys getting into the mechanic field, you know, that are subscribers, and I will be touching on a couple of basic topics. Okay, so you veterans, bear with me. I love new guys, man. I used to be one long time ago. Things have drastically changed from the time I jumped into the field up until now. So this is my last state. Let me go test drive this car and deliver it. No need me filming that. All right. Now let me go over a few things with y'all while I'm still in this engine. Now I've already put this one back together, got the plenum and everything back on, but let me touch on a few basic points, okay? Because this, after all, this is a basic video. We're talking about a misfire. We have since repaired the misfire. We have found out where the misfire was coming from, and I went over with you guys how to go by tracking it down based on a particular scan tool that you have. Now, even if your scan tool don't show which misfire, there's a whole nother way you can find out which cylinder misfire, but hopefully you have a scan tool that will show you misfire. So, but let me go over a few things with you on a couple of things you should do while you have that engine open, doing those spark plugs in that core. Okay, I want you to take a look. I want you to keep an eye on well, in fact, while you're there, go ahead and replace the PCV valve. Now, this particular car, here's the PCV valve. It's kind of hard to see right here. This is a 3.6 Pentastar engine. This PCV valve is bolted to the bank 1 valve cover. All right, we all know what a PCV valve do. Positive crankcase ventilation. What they're trying to do is take those vapors out of the crankcase. This one is bolted to the valve cover, so we're getting the vapors out of the valve cover and the intake. And as you can see, it is routed. This hose right here coming from the PCV valve is routed right back into the intake manifold. So it's going to burn those vapors at a predetermined time, not all the time. All right, so let's go ahead and replace that while you was doing your tune-up. Things like this air filter, check this air filter, make sure it's not clogged up, because the engine has to breathe nice, clean, free air. Okay, keep in mind, do all that while you're doing a tune-up. Take a look at this throttle body and go ahead and clean that up while you're in there. It is real easy to do this when you have the intake manifold off, such as when you're replacing spark plugs or a coil on this particular engine. I highly suggest you go ahead and do that. Well, there's another one. Take a look at the oil. If the oil dirty, recommend to your customer that they replace or do an oil change. And keep in mind, the correct oil that the engine recommend would be on the oil cap. Okay, a lot of people use this as a reference. Now you can go by your manual, owner's manual, or even you know, the Chrysler manual to find out exactly which oil go in your car. But those are a couple of things I wanted to point out to you on what you should also do when you're doing a tune-up on any car, not just this car. So go ahead, that PCV valve is fairly inexpensive. Now it may be a time interval, it's probably like 60 or 90,000 miles, but it's so inexpensive. I suggest you go ahead and do it while you're doing the tune-up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, man. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next video.